How's it going, everybody? It's Preston here from the Legendarium. Welcome to episode number 15 of 30-Minute Author Interviews. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to this podcast. Our guest today is Ernie Howard, and the episode is going to be a little bit longer than 30 minutes. It's about 50 minutes, but I believe it's a great interview. I had a fun time talking with him. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the next 55 minutes with Ernie Howard. Welcome, everybody, to this episode of 30-Minute Author Interviews. Today we have Ernie Howard joining us on his banana phone. Thanks for taking time.
Hey, thanks, Preston. Sorry.
How's the reception on your banana phone?
It's pretty bad right now. It's kind of rotten.
For those that don't know what we talk about, go to his Facebook page and just watch his videos. You'll find the banana phone.
The other day I was going to do a video and I didn't have a banana, so I was going to use potato. It was going to be a potato phone.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I need to do an unboxing of one of your books, and I'm waiting for my wife to bring home some bananas so I can use the banana phone for it.
Well, I'll make sure that we have bananas too so I can talk to you.
There we go. So for those that might not know anything about you or what you do, why don't you kind of give them a bio on who you are and what you do?
Well, I'm a writer with a day job, pretty much. I work at a powder coating shop, and I spray paint on things and bring color to the world. And then I go home and have a screaming toddler that yanks my neck, and I try to write some books. That's pretty much what I do. You're
in Vegas, right?
Yep.
So you don't happen to work for Kustoms, do you?
We do a lot of work for Counts Customs. They come into the shop all the time. It's kind of funny because I actually liked that show, and it ruined it for me because Adam, who's the owner of Powder Coating Plus, he does the shows with them, and they come in and we're all, hey, what's up, guys? Everything's cool. And then they're like, they have to go back out, and get the cameras ready, and then they come in and pretend like they just came in, and it's like, we just talked to you guys.
That's funny.
It's really weird, and it ruined the show for me. Totally ruined the show.
Do you ever watch the one? I'm trying to think what it's called. It comes on Animal Planet. The guys that make the custom fish tanks, aren't they in Vegas too? ATM tanks.
We used to do frames for them. Yeah.
Oh, really? I used to watch that. I don't know if they're still on the air. I used to watch that one all the time.
That's those tanks were amazing.
Yeah, they are.
Like in I think if you still go to the Mirage, they have like the tank with the sharks and stuff in it. Yeah. But we actually did the frame and stuff for that.
Oh, that is cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So have you been to the Las Vegas reference? Have you been to the Pawn Stars shop?
No. My wife's a paralegal. She works downtown, mm-hmm. And anytime I go to her office, I have to drive past it, and there's seriously like this line, and it's this little crappy building pretty much, and it's just off to the side, and it's a building that I've lived in Vegas probably since I was 10, so it's this building that I've driven past 50 million times and never even noticed it, and now I notice it just because it's Pawn Stars, and the people waiting in line. It's like you're waiting in line to go to a pawn shop. I mean, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But pawn shops have always been to me like something that you would go to if you were broke and you need to sell something, or but you got like these people that are like wearing hip packs and they're from like Wisconsin and they're like waiting outside to go to the pawn shop.
That's funny.
It totally is. It's weird.
What is the best kept secret of like if someone's going to go to Vegas, what's something they should go check out that maybe not a lot of people know about?
Get off the Strip. That's the best secret. Get off the Strip. Don't go to the Strip.
Gotcha. Don't
go to the Strip. I mean, there's so many things in Vegas that are like just so much better than the Las Vegas Strip. I feel like I'm like a travel agent right now or something. But I mean, there's like Red Rock, which is got great hiking and all that sort of thing. And there's the Hoover Dam, which Boulder City is where I actually grew up and went to high school and that sort of thing. It's probably about 40 miles out of Vegas, but it's the home of the Hoover Dam. But you can go check that out. And Boulder City is a really cool town. It's what I wrote The Pool about, pretty much, is Boulder City.
Oh, okay.
And it's just a blast from the past kind of place. You know, the roads roll up at like 9 p.m. You know, that sort of thing. So.
Very cool. Well, back to you and your writing. So have you been writing your entire life, or what inspired you to write?
My mom.
Really?
My mom did. My mom was she wrote novels. Obviously, she never got published or anything because, you know, back in the 80s and 70s, you didn't have, you know, Amazon and indie publishing. But I used to sit there and watch my mom just crank out words all night, all day. She had, you know, notebooks full of stories. And later on in her life, right before she passed away, she actually sold one of her script. She wrote a movie script and sold it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But my mom, you know, I was a poor kid, you know, we didn't have much money when I was growing up and that sort of thing. And my mom always took me to the library. You know, that was our big thing. And that's where I got my inspiration. And as far as indie writing, I didn't even know about indie writing until about, I would say, like 2011. And, you know, I could say Hugh Howey and all those people, but also like after Hugh Howey, I would say Daniel Smith was writing, you know, reading Hugh Howey Lives.
Right.
Inspired me a lot, you know, hey, I can do this kind of thing.
So when you were growing up and your mom used to take you to the library, was there a certain author that you just gravitated towards that maybe became one of your favorites that you look forward to reading at the library?
Just from the talk that we had earlier, yeah, I would say Stephen King.
Okay.
But because my mom never censored anything as far as books. But to be perfectly honest, when I was like 10 years old, my favorite book was Chuck Yeager. I wanted to be a fighter pilot, and Chuck Yeager wrote. Obviously, he didn't write it, but it was like a ghostwriter. It was about Chuck Yeager and his being a test pilot and that sort of thing. I loved that book. It's weird that just popped into my head.
So you mentioned Daniel Arthur Smith. So what was it about his writing that really grabbed you? Daniel,
seriously, he has like these layers with his writing. He'll write something, and it'll be a story within a story kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Existentialism with like a YA kind of feel to it. It's like serious without the seriousness. I don't know what it is about his writing, but it's almost like I actually want to meet the guy in person just because I feel like I understand his writing.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you read his any of his Cameron Kincaid series?
Haven't got into that.
That's so good.
I need to do it. I need to get into it. But I have read a lot of the stuff. Some of the stuff he just wrote for Samuel Peralta's Chronicles.
Yeah.
The Peralta Protocol, I think it was called, right?
I believe so.
That one was just like great. It was like reading an action movie, you know? Mm-hmm. I really dug that one. And just seriously, Daniel's one of the coolest guys when it comes to writers, in that he appreciates other writing, and just by him letting be in Tales from the Canyons of the Damned was awesome.
So since we've talked about him a little bit, we actually have a question from one of your fans, Bob Williams. He wants me to ask you, what indies do you like or draw inspiration from?
Bob Williams. I love Bob Williams. No, Bob's awesome. Bob's a great indie writer. Yeah. Who do I draw inspiration from indie writers? Jonathan. We talked about this. Is it
Bala?
Bala. Jonathan Bala. I read The Quantum Door, and that book was just amazing. It seriously, like I said, I think it made me want to just quit writing, but also inspired me at the same time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that guy, Jessica West just put out a new short story in Canyons 8 that being a parent, it just struck home with me, and it gave me the bad shivers on my back. But I get inspired all the time by all kinds of writers. I mean, any book that I read that's like great, that I think is good, and I get inspired by it.
Another one of your fans, I hope I don't say her last name wrong, but I probably will. Heidi Kelding.
Yeah.
She wants to know what keeps you excited about writing.
Writing new stories. Honestly, like I'm like a frenetic, weird writer. I like to start writing a story, and then I'll be driving to work, and I'll be like, well, this story, something will pop in my head. Oh, I need to write that story. I need to write that story. I just, I don't really, it's kind of a natural thing. I always liked reading, and I've always liked writing. So I don't really, it's just kind of I'm always full of gas.
How many stories do you work on at one time then?
Right now I got about 3.
Oh, wow.
On. Yeah. I got the End of the Pool. I'm trying to write a Tales from the Canyons of the Damned story right now. Not trying, I am. And I'm also trying to write another. I'm trying to write a novel where I don't do it in parts, and it's going to be called The Hive.
Okay.
But that's not going to be ready for a while.
A while.
Yeah, that's going to be a long one. Yeah.
Can you give us any hints on what that might be about, or do you want to keep it a secret?
Well, it's just something that popped in. I have a porch out here in my neighborhood, and there was this little girl walking with her dad, and they live across the street from us, and there's like this wrought iron like gate, and they were walking, and she wanted to take the shortcut, so she like climbed up this gate, and she looked like an insect. She was like, it was like amazing. She was like that, all like crazy up the gate. And I was like, what if there was like a family of like aliens that lived in this house and nobody knew? And it sounds like a little cliche, but it's not going to be. Don't worry. But and nobody knew that these people were aliens, but they were like the nicest aliens on the block. And, but this little girl just scaled this gate. I was like, she's an alien. She's probably an alien.
Just go ahead and take my money and shut up.
Girl's an alien.
I'm sold. So, for those that don't know much about your writing history, what's the best place for them to start reading your your stories at? Where would you recommend?
I always thought that The Light Through the Water, my short story, was the best place to start. Just because that I wrote it on, I think it was about 2 years back on Memorial Day. And it was the weirdest thing. I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and my wife and our kid still sleeps with us. He's a 3-year-old that can't quite detach from mom and dad. But I woke up on Memorial Day, and I tried to be really, really quiet. I woke up on like 5 o'clock. It was, I was off of work and stuff, and I came down to the kitchen, and I was like, I'm going to write. And this story just like popped into my head, and it sounds like woo woo and really kind of weird and stuff, but it's the honest to God's truth. I seriously just sat down, and this story just came out of me, and I just wrote it down on a piece of paper. I write everything longhand before I put it on the computer. So I wrote this story, and it was probably about 20 legal pad pages later, and it was about 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. My wife came down, and I was done with the story, and that's where you should start.
That's pretty impressive.
It's one of those stories. It was like it's like all heart. That's pretty much where that story came from, was just my gut, But if you want to start reading me, that's probably where I would say start reading me.
Can you give us the little book blurb on what that's about?
It is it's 2 stories in one. It's about a guy that wants to join the armed forces, and his girlfriend doesn't want him to. And it's also about, without giving it away, it's also about a birth.
Gotcha.
It's about a baby being in a belly, pretty much. Yeah.
Gotcha.
There, but yeah, that's pretty much what it's about.
And so you also appeared, you've mentioned, in Daniel Arthur Smith's Tales from the Canyons of the Damned. How did you get invited, or what was how did he discover you and invite you to be part of this I don't even know, series, chronicles that he is doing?
It's a series. It's like the old school Pulp Fiction, like Tales from the Crypt kind of thing. How I met Daniel was on Facebook, as a lot of us meet each other. Mm-hmm. I read Hugh How He Lives, and then I just said, hey man, I loved your book. And he messaged me back really quickly and said, yeah, when we had a conversation. But Tales from the Canyons of the Damned, I was actually at work, and I went to the store on my lunch break, and I said, hey, I got a message from Daniel. And he's like, hey, do you want to be in Tales from the Canyons of the Damned? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, great, you have 2 weeks to write a story.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, no. But I still did it. And there was just this story that was floating around in my head. Float. Weird that I use float, floating around in my head.
There you go.
It was just floating around in my head, and I wrote it out and drove my wife absolutely insane for like 2 weeks. She was ready to kill me and make me float, actually. And and that's pretty much what all it was. It was just, Daniel's really cool about that. He just messaged me, hey, write a story. Quit being a wuss.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then you have your own series, the Pool series.
Uh-huh.
For those that don't know anything about it, you want to give them the book blurb without spoilers on what that is about?
The Pool is all about what it would be like if you didn't know you were dead, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And it takes place in a town that I grew up in. The town's called Boulder City. And it's actually two things going on at once again. Me being a dad and that sort of thing, and taking road trips to Grandpa and Grandma Larson's cabin up in Utah, and driving and seeing like car wrecks and that sort of thing, and thinking, you know, as every parent, you know, you're trying to protect your kids. Seeing those car wrecks and going, what if, pretty much, you know, what if that happened? And then, you know, putting it into the town I grew up in, Boulder City. Boulder City is like the coolest, creepiest little town in Nevada, pretty much. It's where the Hoover Dam was built and that sort of thing. But it's kind of weird. I can't really give you a blurb without giving away the story. Yeah.
Sounds good. Jonathan Balla would like to know, why does water play such a prominent role in many of your works, such as the pool, float, the light through the water?
I just like water. I like frozen water. I like snowboard. I like surfing. Our bodies are made up of what, like 75% water?
Something like that.
I think that a lot of people's lives would be made up of water, right?
Yeah. Is there a book series that if you could write in any book series or book world, which world would you love to write in, and why?
Geez, I don't know. Stephen King, The Gunslinger? That'd be great. That'd be really cool. I think that's like a kind of obvious answer. But indie, I would say Hugh Howey, his, you know, Wool series. Or I wish Jonathan would write some more. I'd write in his, anything he does. He's like awesome. I don't know. Yeah.
What is one tool that you use when writing that you just can't live without?
My pen and my legal pad.
That's pretty important since you write all yours out.
I really do. I guess I'm a weirdo. Seriously, my wife thinks.
Why do you write them on with pen and pad before just putting it on a computer?
Thinking process. I think better when I write it with, you know, like write it on a piece of paper. I don't write. Don't get me wrong. I don't write like, you know, 20,000 pages of, you know. My hand would cramp up and my arm would probably fall off if I did that. But but I mean, I write like a quick little overview, maybe of like 20, 30 pages. Mm-hmm. And then I, you know, write it on the computer and go back and edit it and that sort of thing. But yeah.
Do you plan most of your stories out? Like, are you a planner, or do you kind of fly by the seat of your pants, or do you do both?
I am the seat of my pants kind of guy. I mean, you know, I remember hearing Artie talk about that, and like he wrote like, you know, like a page or two. That's kind of how I am. I write like a page or two of an outline, and I'll go into it. But I'm the kind of guy that like I'm driving down the street and I have a little app on my phone, a little writing app on my phone, and I'll like pull over to the side of the road and be like, oh, I got to write this down real quick because I will forget it. I honestly, you know, and I don't think that's any different with any other writer. You know, something pops into your head, you got to write it down. Otherwise you will forget it. So that's, yeah.
Is there a certain subject that as an author you just won't write about or don't want to touch? And nope, you'll write about whatever. Sounds good.
Honestly, I don't think you should censor yourself. Best book that any writer could read, in my opinion, is On Writing by Stephen King. And what he talks about in that is you gotta come to the table and you can't lie. You got to be honest, and whatever comes into your head, you have to write down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I truly believe that. I mean, obviously, there's certain things that you might not want to write about or that sort of thing, but
mm-hmm.
I'm a big believer in that you have to be honest when you go to writing.
Is there any type of scene that's harder for you to write than others?
Anything that has to do with like kids, I think just because I'm a new dad,
mm-hmm.
and writing the pool was kind of hard. And Jessica West, seriously, she's like the greatest editor ever. And I wrote this part in the pool, and it was about the car wreck. I guess that wouldn't be giving too much away.
Mm-hmm.
But the kids die and that sort of thing. And she's like, I kind of skimmed over it, and she's like, no. She put a note. She was like, no, I want to actually hear about the car wreck. You got to write about it. And it was pretty hard actually writing about that.
Gotcha.
Just because it scares the crap out of me. You have kids and you want to protect them no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I know I run into it and this problem, and you probably are too, since you're an author and you write. My reading time has died down a little bit. I don't have as much time. But what book are you currently reading?
Oh man. I'm reading a ton of books right now. I'm reading Magicians of the Gods by Graham Hancock, because I like nonfiction, or I don't know what you'd call that, fiction / nonfiction. I'm like going over to my bookshelf right now. I'm reading Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. What else am I reading? Daniel Smith sent me something that he hasn't published that I'm reading. I don't know. Lots of stuff.
You're better than me. I can only read one book at a time.
I'm a weirdo. Sorry.
So we talked about kind of what some of your favorite books were, and I've only done this with one other author I can think of off the top of my head. What is a book that you didn't care for or didn't like, and why?
Twilight.
Twilight.
I gotta say Twilight, man.
What was it about Twilight?
It was kind of just phoned in.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I don't know. I don't like being a critic on people. I mean, it was a halfway decent story, I guess, but it was predictable and kind of, I don't know. What's it? Is it Stephanie Meyer? Is that her name?
Meyer, I think. Stephanie Meyer. Yeah.
I think she could do well with reading some books. And that's not trying to be a jerk or anything. I'm just saying, I think she could do well with like actually reading something out of her genre.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, that would be my pick.
She did do it.
Now that you made me sound like a total jerk, Preston.
She did do a sci-fi book, an adult sci-fi book. I haven't read it yet. It's called The Host.
I haven't read it either, but my mother-in-law keeps hounding me. Paula, I'll read the book. Okay, leave me alone. The Host. Yeah,
I'll start it next.
She loves it. She loves that lady. You got to read The Host.
Funny. So you have a few more fan questions. I kind of saved for you. They're not too serious. So,
okay.
S. Elliot Brandis.
Yes.
Since you threw some at him.
Brandis, not Brandis. Young Slasher is one of the greatest indie books I've ever read, by the way.
I've started reading it, and the beginning of it is really good.
He like the top 100 for horror books.
I love how he starts that book with that girl coming out just soaked in blood, and the cops are you okay? And she's trying to act like a victim, and they're like, is anybody left? And she's like, no, and then thinks to herself, because I killed him. And
then he goes back and like right from there he goes to the equivalent of an Australian McDonald's with her and her friend.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
He wants to know how long it took you to grow your hair.
No, what a jerk. Never mind. I take everything I said back.
It's the worst book ever.
Yeah. It takes about 2 seconds, Brandis, because I shaved my head because I started going bald when I was like 26, you jerk.
The next question comes from Michael Bunker, and he wants to know, have you ever had a knuckle sandwich?
Plenty, actually. I was kind of a scrapper when I was younger.
Oh, really?
No. I was filled with hate. No, I'm just kidding.
The next one comes from, I'm going to say his name wrong probably, Vincent Tregilly.
Okay.
He wants to know why you have such violent friends.
I ask them. I don't know. You got one guy that puts up a Facebook post that says, have you ever wanted to stab anybody in the face? Young slasher, get it on Amazon. And then you got the other one that says you want a knuckle sandwich. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a violent person, but I guess that they are.
Jonathan Balla wants to know, since we talked about your banana phone, when will we get Stephen King's rebuttal?
I don't know, man. He needs to get back to me because his movies really suck. They really do. That is like such a weird thing with Stephen King. He's got the guy's got like tons of money.
Yeah.
And he's written these amazing stories, and there's only like a few of them that have been made into movies that are great. And then you got the Tommyknockers, which was like a mini series, and it was horrible. And then you got The Stand, which is that's like a classic book,
right?
And Molly Ringwald was in the mini series, and I don't get it. It was like this really low production value and all this. It's like, you got money, man. Throw some money at it. Get some producers,
So which ones do you think are great?
I liked 1408. I liked the Shawshank Redemption. I liked obviously The Shining, but that was also because Stanley Kubrick was the dude. Is there any other ones? I hope The Dark Tower is good.
Yeah,
I really hope so, because that's like one of my favorite series of books.
Now, honestly, I haven't read much Stephen King. So how was
Blasphemer?
Yeah. I actually didn't get into reading until I met my wife when we were dating, and she's like, read Harry Potter. So I did.
Harry Potter.
And then that's what got me into reading. So I haven't really read any Stephen King. But how was the movie The Green Mile compared to the book?
That's another one. The Green Mile, awesome. Can't go wrong with Tom Hanks.
Right.
So.
And then how about my mind's drawing a blank. What about the little Hulu miniseries they did of 11/22/63?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't watched that one yet?
Haven't seen it, and also because I don't want it to suck. And all the reviews that I've heard have been it's not that good.
I really enjoyed it.
You did?
I did. I
love the book.
And I hate
awesome.
the one thing I hated was Hulu doesn't do like Netflix. They literally put out one episode a week. And so you had to wait till Monday. As soon as I got home from work on Monday, at dinner time, that's what we watched, was the next episode of 11/22. I could not wait to get home to watch it.
We're so spoiled nowadays.
I know. Just put it all out.
Like Stranger Things. Me and my wife watched that for in one day.
Really?
And the boys would come down and they'd be like, "Hey, what are we having for dinner?" We're like, "Shut up! We're watching Stranger Things.
We're having popcorn. Go microwave some.
Go have a burrito. We got chimichangas.
That's hilarious.
No, but I haven't watched that series just because I like, seriously, I don't want it to suck.
I have heard they changed some things, but like I said, I read like the beginning
John
of the book.
Franco's like the main character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the book's like 1,000 pages. I mean, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
But
you got to cut that big time.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. So you'll have to watch it and then get back to me and let me know what you think.
Oh, definitely. I was planning on it. And the other one that I'm like really not looking forward to. This is horrible. But The Cell, I didn't really enjoy the book, and I heard I think it's either Netflix or Hulu did the little series for the Cell for Stephen King.
I saw somebody else say that The Cell was put out there, and I didn't know that. So
I've heard that. I've heard things.
It was either Will Swordstrom or Daniel Arthur Smith, I think, posted about it online.
Yeah. If Will says something sucks, it usually does.
I can't remember if he's the one that saw it or not. So I'd have to.
I don't remember either, but that's
have to go back and try to find it.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, Steve, come on, man. You got money. Hook it up.
Yeah, I'll
get on the ball here.
Yeah, there's not too many movies or shows that are great compared to the novels, or as good as the novels.
That's the running trend there, but I think you could like do it a little bit better, because I mean, Pet Sematary. I'll say Pet Sematary.
Okay,
very good, actually. I mean, that's like a classic movie from my childhood. Scared the crap out of me. I'm going to play with mommy. Now I'm going to play with you. Creepy kid.
I haven't watched it, so
you need to. What?
I haven't watched it. No.
Wow. Need to do it.
I have no clue what that reference was.
Sorry. Well, you will. His name's Gage Creed.
I probably just lost all kind of listeners now by saying I haven't read or watched much Stephen King.
My son will be upstairs, like in the loft, playing with his brothers. His brothers play video games all day, and we're bad parents. Never mind. But he'll be up in the loft and he'll laugh. And my wife will be like, "Oh, his little Gage Creed laughed." Wow. Yeah.
I'll have to look it up, see if it's on Netflix or Hulu.
Yeah, you need to check that out.
The last fan question actually comes from your editor, Jessica West.
Okay.
She says she wants to know if you'll go into a sensory deprivation tank now.
I do all the time.
Do you really?
I love it. It's awesome. Yeah, I let me just put out a PSA here. I'm dead serious.
I need some special music for it.
It's funny. It sounds funny, but it's not. Going into a float tank is one of the greatest things any rider can do. You go in, like where I go, it's called Go Float Yourself. It's very great.
Very original.
Yeah, very original. Crazy name. But you go in there and, they got crazy new agey music playing, which is cool. Calms you down. And then you go in your own little room. You lock the door. And it's a tank that has about 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt in it.
Wow.
Sorry. Yeah. So you float. And it has about 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt in it, and it's 98.6 degrees, or maybe a degree or whatever off. So when you actually get into it, it matches the temperature of your body. So you lay in this thing, close the door, and you're in total darkness, and you're floating. After about 15 minutes, you lose. It's going to sound stupid and it's going to sound hippy dippy, but you actually kind of lose yourself. You lose your ego, and yourself just kind of goes away, and you have a vacation from your mind. All day, every day, we're like bombarded with media, lights, crazy stuff. Hey, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, Canyons of the Damned, Ernie Howard, Preston Lay's podcast, all that, you know what I'm saying? Not bad stuff, but I'm just saying right. you're just completely, you're not ever
disconnected ever.
Yes. You're not ever, you're not one with yourself. And it sounds, woo woo and all that sort of thing, but it's the truth. You need time. I usually only go in for like an hour, but you need time with yourself, totally not getting any kind of stimulation. It shuts down your brain. And I've come out of that place. I've come out of that place that I go to, and been able to write like a madman, just because my brain got a second to just rest. You know what I'm saying? So
do you come up with story ideas while you're in this float tank?
No, actually. I come up with the story ideas after I get out of the float tank.
So it's just kind of like almost like meditation then?
I meditate too. I try to meditate every day. And you didn't know this about me, did you, Preston?
I didn't.
But yeah, floating is great. And it's not a hippie woo-woo thing. I mean, it's also like I have a very physical job, so you come out of there like feeling like a wet noodle. And like the last time I floated, I went into the grocery store because my wife, it was like, oh, we need this, we need milk and all this sort of thing. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to grab the milk and my hand feels like it's like rubber, and I'm grabbing the milk and this poor lady's like looking at me like, oh my God, who's that kooky? He must be on drugs.
I'm Ernie Howard. Have a book.
I'm Ernie Howard. I just got done floating. Leave me alone. But yeah, I'll definitely keep floating. And I think everybody should do it.
I've never even heard of it.
Sensory deprivation?
No, the floating thing.
Yeah, they have them all over the place now.
So do you hear the music while you're sitting in there floating?
You can either have the music on or have the music off. The last time I did it, I had the music on and it was kind of distracting, so I turned it off. So
do you sleep or you just
No, just float? It's a weird thing to experience. It's
I'll have to experience it.
Have you ever like right before you're going to sleep and your mind's like racing and then it just stops racing and then you wake up real quick?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry to get all serious and weird.
Have you ever tried the I don't know what they call it, the where you go stand in that little tube thing and they shoot you with like, it gets to like negative 200 degrees and you're supposed to stay there for like 3 minutes.
Cryotherapy.
Yeah.
I want to try that though. There was a lady that actually died out here. She owned a cryotherapy shop and she got locked into it. So maybe I won't try that.
I wouldn't go to that one. There's
a story right there. Hey,
yeah.
There's a writing prompt, writer friends.
A serial killer that goes around to different...
Kills people with a cryotherapy tank.
Yeah, it just moves from employer to employer and kills somebody and everyone.
Yeah, apparently she got like locked in there and it wasn't pretty.
The cryo killer coming in 2017 from Ernie Howard.
By the way, if that person hears this podcast, I'm very sorry, family or friends.
Yeah.
So, that's horrible.
I've actually never heard of someone dying doing it because I always hear about athletes that do it. So.
I heard it's like really good for your body because it like shocks you. And what's the I don't even know what the chemical that's released in your body when you're cold.
Is it?
But it doesn't. It's some kind of. I don't think it's adrenaline, but it's something that is it. It's not serotonin. I don't know. I'm gonna sound like a real dummy, so I'm just gonna stop right now. But there's something that gets released in your body that's like really good. Like cold and heat are like really good for you. That's just what I've heard.
I bet it is a rush getting that cold.
Yeah, so I think it's maybe you're getting your blood pumping, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't believe everything you hear on the internet, people.
That's right.
Essential oils will cure your.
That's right. Cure cancer. I'm gonna have to. I don't know. I'll have to see if look into this floating thing. That'd be kind of interesting.
Do it seriously. It opens. I don't want to say it opens your mind, but it relaxes you to the point where you kind of just come out of there and all your troubles seem a little less big. You know?
Yeah.
Because let's go through daily lives and we have bills and crazy stuff that happens, and having a little float kind of takes that all away and you feel good.
So do they have, like, at the one you go to, like a little something to slowly get you back to reality, or does someone come knocking on the door? Hey, your time's up.
The light comes on.
Oh,
actually.
okay.
You close the pod. Some people don't like to close the pod because they're claustrophobic or whatever. But you close the pod, lights go off. You can either put on the music or you can't, or you don't. And once the hour's up, the light comes on automatically, and then the pod opens.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of sucks because you're like, I want it to stay in a little bit longer, you know, because it's really relaxing. It's like, you know, going to a day spa, but without somebody, you know, giving you a massage.
Right. Yeah. Have you heard of the, I think it's in Utah. It's like the quietest room in the world.
I have heard of that.
And it's like
it'll make you crazy if you stay in there for like 2 hours or something like that.
Is it 2 hours or it's 45 minutes, something? They say you like totally lose your mind. I think you should try it.
I'm gonna.
We'll have them record you. It'll be a legendary exclusive.
I would probably not lose my mind just because my house is like my boys are like a barrel of monkeys that are driving through a minefield, and my house is like super loud all the time. I would probably enjoy myself a lot actually in that room.
Maybe you can get them to put a float tank in there, and you can just float in complete silence for 2 hours. Yeah. And see what happens.
I would dig that. I would totally dig that. My wife probably would too. She'd be like, can we have chips?
Can I get some salsa in here, please?
Chips and salsa. All these other people are like freaking out. We're like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, this is great. Well, as you know, here at the Legendarium, we like to end on a not so serious note. Like we haven't been talking about float tanks or anything.
Yeah, we've been totally serious the whole time.
Let's jump into what we call the legendary ending.
Okay.
So what songs are currently on your writing playlist?
Anything by Bad Religion.
Okay.
Love Bad Religion, greatest band ever. Bad Religion is like my punk rock Aerosmith. Love them. Believe it or not, Spangle. Have you ever heard of Spangle?
I have not.
Yeah, they're like, it's like I think he's like a DJ or something, but he like puts out this really weird, like kind of mood music, and talks about like weird stuff. But anyway, that I think his name's Gary Clark Jr. So blues guy. Yeah, all those guys. And, you know, the oldies. I like oldies. I like all that sort of thing.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
If you were stuck in a zombie apocalypse, which one of your book characters would you want to be stuck with?
None of them. None of them. I die.
All my book characters suck, but buy my books.
They don't suck. They're just not that kind of person, you know.
They'd all die.
They're not like, hey, let's pick up a machine gun and kill some zombies. They're like, oh, you know, let's try to make friends with the zombies.
Time to write a new book.
Yeah, and I'd be like, the zombies are going to eat you. We should probably do something about this.
That's so hilarious. All right, so if you could pick any character from any media source to be stuck in a zombie apocalypse with, whether it's from comics or books or movies or whatever, who would you want to be stuck with?
Jeez, I guess the Flash.
Okay.
The Flash, just because I could like jump on his back when the zombies came and we could just get out of there, you know, and then I could like hit up a Walmart and get some shotguns.
Well, Can't he time travel with as fast as he runs?
Exactly.
Isn't there some
zombies are coming in?
storyline?
Listen to me, Preston. The zombies are coming in, right?
Right.
I'm like, Flash, we got to get out of here. Jump on his back. Boom, we're out.
Yeah.
No zombies.
That's right. Go back to the past or something.
You know, Artie said the Incredible Hulk. It's like, okay, the Incredible Hulk can smash, but the zombies would eventually get him. But if you're not there, if you're somewhere else,
that's true.
Zombies can't get you, dude.
Nope. They will never be able to keep up with you.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Speaking of time travel,
what's good about that one? Dang it! I pulled that one out of my butt.
That was a good one. Normally it's Superman or something, you know, but
everybody picks Superman, man.
But the Flash, Superman. That's a good one. I think you might have convinced me away from Superman.
You can just get out of there.
Yeah, that's a good. I'm gonna remember that one. If you had a time machine, where would you travel and why?
I've always kind of liked the 1920s and 30s, like the flapper age, you know, just because it seemed like everybody dressed kind of cool and, you know, they smoked cigarettes and had martinis and that sort of thing. And, hey, take a tape parade, everyone. Yeah. Seabiscuit wins another.
There you go. And you can wear a hat. So then.
Exactly. I love hats.
Wouldn't have to worry about your hair.
Yeah.
I haven't asked this one in a while, I don't think. If you could write under a pen name, what genre would you write and why?
I've actually thought about this, and I don't want to sell out, but I've actually thought about like writing erotica and like having a very, you know, pornographic pen name. But I don't want to say it here. Like Ernie Longstrokes or something like that. You know? I'm dead serious. I've actually thought about this. I could write under a pen name, make a ton of money, and writing erotica under Ernie Longstrokes.
It's the top grossing book genre.
Yeah.
By far.
I just can't do it.
It's unreal. I
can't be like, he put his member in her enveloped flower. I can't do it.
Yeah. And then if you could have any superpower, which one would you want and why?
I would say stopping time, because I'm always tired because I work long hours at my day job and I try to come home and write and I got to take care of kids. So I would stop time just so I could lay down on the couch and go to sleep.
There we go.
Like 4 or 5 hours. That'd be awesome.
Very nice. And then for our famous question, a penguin walks through the door right now wearing a sombrero. What does he say and why is he here?
You know, I've thought about this. I love your blog and your podcast. I thought about this for so long and I can't think of anything other than like he'd say, I got your carne asada burrito and your Corona, your 12-pack of Corona, I guess. I don't know. Like he was a delivery penguin or something.
There we go. Mexican delivery.
I'm sorry. That was horrible.
That's all right.
That was like the most like horrible response to that question ever.
Hey, at least you gave one. Artie didn't give one, remember?
Yeah, he got all mad about it.
That's funny. And then, of course, before we leave, do you have any advice, whether it be for writing or for life, that you'd like to share with our listeners?
For writers, I would say stay humble and write. Just write. Don't get into all the other crap that goes on with writing. I mean, I know it's kind of hard to do that, but I would say just sit down and write. You know, don't go off into the. It's hard not to, you know, get into the negative aspect of like the business and forget about why you're writing. You write because you love it. You know.
Gotcha.
And life, just love your life, man. Everything's cool. Everything's going to be all right.
Sounds good. Well, for where can our listeners go if they would like to learn more about you or the stories you've written?
Go to Amazon, amazon.com/author/Ernie Howard, or ErnieHowardWrites.com.
Sounds good. We'll put a link to both of those at the show notes over at legendarium.com. LEIGHGENDARIUM.com. We'll have the show notes over there with all the links to your books and your website.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for taking the time and coming on today.
Thank you for having me, Preston.
Well, guys, that's all the time we've got for this week's episode. Thank you so much for stopping by and listening to 30-minute author interviews. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with your friends and family on Facebook and Twitter. Hopefully we'll get some new followers because of it. And if you would, head on over to legendarium.com and check out all the different places you can subscribe to the podcast. And if you would, please rate and review it on your favorite place to listen to it. It would really help us get discovered by new people. And until next time, guys, have a good one and stay legendary. Oh, screwed that one up. Blooper reel.